And yeah, that's where I've been for the past few weeks. So what's going on, everybody? My name is Nicolas Dennis. For those of you who know, my alter ego for my first channel is Warzone 157, and now here's my second channel where you guys get a little bit more of the person behind the computer and just ranting and raving, doing reactions, and pretty much just having a good time chilling out talking to you. So when it comes to this video, here was my experience of being in the National Guard so far. When it comes to being activated, there's a lot of pressure on us. There's a lot of things that we have to make sure that we have accounted for, and we're able to execute everything from what we've been trained on. And I feel like from our activation that just ended, we were a damn fine company. And I thank everybody from the bottom up for helping out and actually being more than just their job role and helping out whenever they can. Now, for those who don't know, I am part of the Georgia Army National Guard, and my unit is the 178th Military Police Company. We are also with the 170th and 179th. 179th, I do believe, is down in Savannah, Georgia, so they accompanied us as well to help with this mission. This is my second activation, and me personally, I enjoyed everything that I had experienced down there in Louisiana, but I don't know, there's just a part of me is like, man, I kind of wanted to do a little bit more. We had set roles, which kind of didn't sit right with me, because MP also means multi-purpose. It just doesn't mean military police. And we did do different roles, just not a whole lot more. I'm guessing because we had all other different people from different states of National Guard already down there helping out before we arrived. But yeah, I kind of expected to do more, but for what I got, the experience that I got was all worthwhile. Now let me kind of paint the picture of what it was like getting deployed. It starts with you getting a call. Me, I was at work and closing the store, and when it came to heading back home, I got a text from my squad leader saying that right now we're on standby. Don't have to go to the unit, but do have to make sure that you have to be ready for anything that happens. So next morning came, I got a call saying that, hey, I need everybody who's anybody to come down here and start getting everything packed. Make sure that you have all your sensitive items and your personal gear and military gear as well. So when we got to our unit, we made sure that our duffel bags were stuffed enough. We didn't know what we were going into because of Hurricane Ida, so we packed a whole lot of socks, shirts, and underwear. We also made sure that we had our vests and our wet weather gear if we were going to just like be around the area with nothing to do. Make sure we had some personal clothes. And we're also kind of going through inventory and checking out what we have, what we need, and probably getting it on the next day, which we did. So the next day came, and we started getting everything packed up in our Humvees. Make sure that whatever Humvee we were behind it. Make sure we were staging everything, and make sure that we did a extensive check on our vehicles. That's what we call the preventive maintenance checks and services, or PMCS. And for some reason, everything was good except one Humvee, and that one had a gas leak, I do believe. Either that or they just did not get gas at all the day before. But they did have a problem with it, so that was nor here or there for that particular problem. Next, we had to stage everything and head out. Now, we headed out to the 170th, and that was literally 5 minutes from my house. And once we got there, we had a whole lot of important people go out and just start taking cameras and pictures and videos of us. And I don't really know all who was there. We had our chaplain, we had our general, we had some of our first sergeants and higher enlisted there. And surprisingly for me, he wasn't there, but his wife was there. The wife of the Georgia governor, Brian Kemp. So Miss Kemp was there. She gave us a, what do you call those things? Send-off speech. There we go. And for some reason, that kind of made me feel like I'm important a little bit. Like I already know that I am important because I'm in the service for helping and volunteering for anything that comes up in the States. But hearing it from somebody who is more for the American people, it really helps out a lot. So the Kemp family, thank you so much for bringing somebody down and just recognizing everybody who's part of the service and stepping up. Let me put another picture down for you. The drive. Man, the drive, how do I explain it? Because we're not really cramped, and that's if you put all your stuff in a big box truck that we had, and your personal stuff that you were gonna have to use, like chargers, wipes, toiletries, or even something just to lay your head on. We make sure we had in our vehicle. But oof, there are a lot of technical difficulties with those Humvees. Humvees, they move fast, but they're also slow at the same time, and you have to be in your convoy at all times. So if you're all the way in Savannah and you're coming all the way down into Decatur, Georgia, bro, it took us 3 days to get from Decatur to Louisiana. So it must have been a day or a day and a half for the other unit to come in and get ready, because right when they came in, they already had to start heading out again. So I already want to say big thank you to the 179th, the 170th, and my unit, the 178th police, military police companies, for just showing so much resilience and just embracing the suck whenever there is. Now, when it comes to heading out, we had about 18 or less stops, and we made stops every 30 minutes to an hour, and we already had the routes detailed and plotted out and where to go. So there was one day, I think we're either in Alabama or we're in Mississippi. So the first time we were in one of those states, that's where we stopped the first time to get rest, and that was roughly around 8 to 10 at night. And then when we got up in the morning, had to go straight back out and then roll out again. Take a couple of stops. The next thing you know, we're in Mississippi. And honestly, I can't really tell you where we were. Some tell me we were in Mississippi, then we went inside Louisiana, but we went damn near towards the end of Louisiana, about to head straight into Tennessee, because that's where that's what one of the biggest areas that we had for other National Guards. So I'm guessing since maybe there's some leaks or maybe there's some flooding during Hurricane Ida from the after effects of it. And we really didn't have too many options but to keep going that way, stopping for the night and then heading all the way back down. I don't know. I don't make the rules. But man, it was just so extended. I'm really hoping that was the reason for me having a fucking hemorrhoid. Luckily to say, it's gone. Hemorrhoids are basically, it's that little bump inside your anus that if you sit down for too long, either on the toilet or in a Humvee, you get bumps or sacks of blood that couldn't really travel all that well, and they needed a place to go. Where is that? It's right up there. Yeah, not comfortable when you're having to wipe or take a extensive shit. MREs. That's another fucking video I can make for like 15 minutes. But yeah, it was a long drive. But when we got to Louisiana, finally, we were at this expo, little dome area, and we stayed there for like 2 days. First day was good and everything, but man, once it got nighttime, and then they gave you a building to go into, don't get me wrong, it was cool, but it was too cool. Sometimes I felt like I was waking up with the sniffles, but again, I think that was because I didn't really have too much on me to wear. So I can imagine why I'd be very cold, but thank God I had my 3-layer sleep system. And I didn't know those things existed until I went into the army and had to stay outside. Like, what was it? Was it 5 or 7 days during Blue Phase? It was one of those. It's probably a week or probably just 5. Nah, man, it had to be about 5 days. But anyway, 3-layered type of sleeping system. It works. So now let's talk about getting to the mission. Our first one was down, and I think it was either Thibodaux or it was Houma, Louisiana, and our job was to help conduct a ECP or checkpoint down in a gas station. Pretty much make sure that the only ones who were going to that gas station was anyone who was for the petroleum company. I think it was called Slumber J or something like that. And then we had people who were first responders and then who were relatives to first responders. So we had to make sure that if there was a line, we could control the line, make sure that if there was any spaces or if there wasn't any spaces around that gas station, they would have to park right around the bank right next to the, or right across from the train station. Fuck. Take it slow. And execute. Alright. So for the missions, we had about 3, or at least I had about 3. So while some MPs were going and doing ride-alongs with the sheriff's department or local police department, there were others who were stationed for security personnel and just watching over a certain location. My first one was making a emergency checkpoint or ECP around a gas station that was right across from a bank. And pretty much the only ones who were able to get gas at a certain time were people who worked for a certain company, people who were first responders, and those who were related to first responders. We also had to make sure that they had their IDs and also flag down anybody that was around there that could verify that these people were relatives. So for my area, I was supposed to be directing traffic. So I was on the side of the bank, and they would have to go the long way or the short way around to wait across the street until we had a space for them, and they had to figure out if they had to get diesel or regular gas. So if they said they were part of a company, they had to show me the ID, and also told me what kind of gas they were trying to get. So since we didn't want to yell at each other, we would have to do one, or stick our hand up and say one finger for regular or two for diesel. And pretty much it went pretty smooth. We had to redirect traffic if it got too congested, and our shifts were usually 12 hours. Not usually, they were 12 hours. There was a saying that we might have like a short day. No. There was way too much stuff to do, and we had enough hands on deck, but we just want to make sure that all of our important areas were taken care of. And so people were getting called out to different types of situations, whether dealing with something that was high risk or things that were low risk. I was pretty much in a whole lot of low risk situations, which I'm not knocking, because to me, I understand how stressful that stuff can be, and I don't know if I was really up for it. I know I was up for it, but it's probably gonna have to be a lot more of a mental game for me to get ready for something that was high risk. Unfortunately, we did have one, but it didn't really have anything to do with my unit or my company. Pretty much at the end, there was a drug bus, and one of them was coming straight up the road from us where we were doing our checkpoint. And so we just stood around, took a little peek, and there was like 30 cruisers going by, blocking off that area. I think we were across like a railroad section, and thank God he didn't crash into any of the cars, but he got out. And you could see him running, but then you could see almost like 20 freaking officers running straight after him. They also sent out the canine units to him. And honestly, that was hilarious, and it was the most intense thing that I've seen thus far while being in the military, or just being around other types of law enforcement. So that was the first day. We got back home, and I had to think, do I want to take a shower? Do I want to eat breakfast? Or do I just want to go the fuck to bed? I had carried so much stuff from that time because I had to rush and getting 2 duffels, which were about 30 pounds each, from the LMTV all the way down to where we were going to be sleeping for the next few weeks. And to me, I had to just rest because I was so tired, and it was at that point it was just the mind over matter mentality that I had. So you know what? I'll see if I want to take a shower when I wake back up. If not, I'm just gonna do a whore bath. I woke up early enough to take one, a whore bath, which is just get a rag or get some of the dew wipes that I packed, and I should start rubbing down because I did not have time. And if I did have time, I wasn't gonna chance anything because you never know. I could be on different orders at a different time. So I always wanted to make sure that I was ready for in case I was on standby for any fragmentation orders or fragos. Next was the little checkpoint. It wasn't really a checkpoint, it was more of just holding up security down in this high school called South Terrebonne High School. And it was a pretty big high school that had like a small little outside courtyard, and it had a lot of vending machines. I'm guessing that's one area that they used to give out like resources because there was a lot of stuff hanging out there. Unfortunately, we weren't near that section per se. We were on the side of the high school, right next to like a barbed wire fence that had cattle of cows that we didn't see until like 4 o'clock in the morning. And we were sitting right next to a dumpster, which looked like it hasn't been changed out in over 2 months. So you can understand how being near one porta-john and 2 dumpsters filled to the brim and just overfilled with stuff kind of makes you want to just stay inside of the Humvee. And that's what we did. There were only times of each hour where we got out and we were just going around the front of the school and taking a look, seeing if there was anybody that wasn't supposed to be there. We had good enough flashlights. We had our wet weather gear. Unfortunately, it didn't stop the mosquitoes from coming after us. The way I can, I don't know if I already said it, but the way I can explain how these mosquitoes worked is they were nocturnal. They were 2 times the size of the ones in Georgia, because if you were in Georgia, you already know how little and minute our mosquitoes are. But the ones in Louisiana, corn-fed, and it's like no amount of off or DEET or some high brand repellent was gonna shake these guys off of you. They were literally biting through our material. If it wasn't the shirt, it was through our tops, and even if you had like a slick raincoat on, they could still penetrate all 3 layers. Well, 2 layers if it's going down to your arm, or 3 layers if it's going towards your shoulder. Thank God no one got me on my shoulder. They got me on my neck though. So yeah, that crap wasn't fun. But I looked on my arm and I had 3 big ones on my left arm, just munching away, just sticking me. It was the most unbearable feeling. I felt like I got shot back at reception in basic training. Worst feeling ever. Thank God I didn't contract anything. I was able to just rub some alcohol on it whenever I had the chance to, and just kept it moving. Now, we did go around some of the high school just to look casually inside, but from what I heard from others when they went inside to just browse, stuff was falling down all around them. And yeah, they told us just stay the fuck out of there. Which is weird, because when we told them when we got back that we did not go inside, they went, "Are you fucking serious?" I'm like, what? Like, dude, when we tell you don't go in, that's what we're telling you, to go in, just to see. And it's like, I'm still getting used to some of this crap that the Army is saying to me, because I don't have that sense of humor. I mean, I kind of do, but I keep it more professional, even though some of the higher ups and higher enlisted people joke around. I think that's just part of me just being a little bit antisocial as well, but I don't know. I really don't. And then the last one that we had to do was go to this area, I think it was in Houma, Louisiana. It was called Grand Caillou Fire Station. And that place wasn't too bad. Only downside was when we first got there, we had 3 different locations that our computer was telling us to go. So we went down, and I think we actually passed it because we were just going straight down this long narrow road to where it was like nothing there. And then we went all the way back, did a 180, and then there was a fire station, but it looked very barren, destroyed. Parts of the brick wall on the side was coming down. And so, who knows, maybe this might be the area that we were supposed to look after. So we wait there for about 2 hours and nothing happened. Within the first hour that passed, we saw one fire and rescue truck pass us, and they were honking at us and they were looking at us. And I'm like, maybe we should follow them. But at the same time, we were like, they were probably going to another emergency, so we're just gonna hold out. So another hour passed and nothing. Nobody passed us again. Nobody said, hey, we're down here or there somewhere. And we was like, hey, let's just go back down and see if we missed anything. Let's put in our address one more time and see where that takes us. So we put it in, and there was another fire station that we passed, except this one was flooded. Like, there was really little area you can go to where your pant legs were not going to get drenched. And so my driver was walking around, see if there was anybody there. There was nobody there, of course. So we drove back to where we initially came, and we saw a we barely saw it, but we caught at the light, and it was a fire station. It was Grand Caillou Fire Station, but it was so pitch black because there was no power and there was nothing to illuminate that this was a building for the fire department. If it wasn't for the red that came off of our lights, then we would have been lost. So we finally got the right address by going on the Facebook page to see where it was at, and lo and behold, we found it. And that's when we also saw the big red fire trucks right there. So we got all of our stuff out. We parked across the street that was near the bayou or river, and they wanted us to stay outside throughout the whole entire 12 hours. I don't know about y'all, but as a black person who's never been around big streams of water except for the ones in the backyard, and we really never go back there, yeah, I wasn't trying to get eaten up by mosquitoes. I wasn't trying to get snatched up by an alligator. And I'm definitely not trying to get stuck in some kind of mud that felt like quicksand. Even though it wasn't, I was just not too sure. So we took all of our stuff and we went upstairs. We talked to some of the nice fire department people. We actually had air guard there who was actually from either Alabama or from Louisiana down there, and their pretty much job was to guard the resources throughout the day when everybody was getting stuff handed out, and then we'd be there throughout the night doing night shifts. And it was pretty chill. I mean, they told us to stay outside, but we didn't on pretty obvious reasons. But every single hour we would go out either together or by one group, and we would kind of transition after 1 hour. Like I would go 1 hour and then he would go out 1 hour, and we would still view the cameras to see if there was anybody there. But Louisiana had a curfew, and anyone who broke curfew would be fined. But of course, you know, people don't really listen. At the same time, there wasn't really a whole bunch of people out there. Throughout the whole entire 12 hours that we were stationed there, you've only saw about 4 or 5 cars at a time passing through, and they didn't stop for anything. So it was just staying awake, going downstairs, going around the vicinity, looking at the Humvee, make sure everything is still there, and then going back upstairs and pretty much look at TV just to pass the time while also heading on a swivel with the security cameras. And it worked out pretty good, and that was pretty much it. For the next few days we were just there. The fire department people did hook us up with a bed, some food, showers, and you know, just gave us peace of mind. And then when all was said and done, the leadership came out one more time and said that one of us has to get switched out with somebody else. And so I volunteered to go back, and once I did, I was on the same ECP than I was last time. And surprisingly, that time went by a little bit quicker than the first time. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it did. And for the next few days after that was over, we just stayed around at the at our little hub down the college, and we started just getting everything ready to pack up for the day. And then once we got back on the road, it took us about 2 days to get back because we stayed in Montgomery, Alabama in a Air Force base, and after that just shot it back to our respective units and just wait for our rides to pick us up. And that was pretty much it on what it was like for my activation down in Louisiana for Hurricane Ida relief. Like I said, I kind of wish I was doing more, but I am thankful for the experience that I was able to get there, and I'm actually looking forward to the next one, either by having to go there because they're calling everybody else in, or if I volunteer. And now the second reason why I haven't been posting videos.
make the exchange. Let us pray.
He never dances. Never. Never. He said those shoes are comfy. He's smiling. I'll let you get it and you can give it to me. Oh, be careful, I always forget to put on the video.
And no matter what the song may bring, I'm back with you. And the point of it all, I
So yeah, I now have another new brother-in-law, and my sister is about to get her last name changed from Dennis to Nettles. So I want to say congratulations once again to my twin sister Chelsea and Nick. Thank you so much for being a part of my life. Thank you so much for being a part of each other's lives and making each other happy, and always trying to find common ground whenever you guys are fighting, and staying with each other, because it takes a lot of dedication and love and commitment to make something grow and become even more powerful than when you initially had a concept in your mind on relationships to friendships to just creating a stronger bond. And I think that's about it. I'm really happy to be a part of this family. I'm really happy to be a part of this service. And I'm really happy to be a part of this community for YouTube. And maybe down the road, when I get everything kind of like fixed up and reconstructed on that page, I can restart my Twitch channel. Because one thing, I'm with family, so bandwidth is always going to be tight, and I don't really have a good setup for streaming. I'm still working out the kinks on even recording stuff and editing. So that's going to be kind of on the Bunsen burner until sometime next year. But that's about it, guys. Hope that you all enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of like a long video, but I just wanted to get a lot of things off my chest and show you guys, or tell you guys, what it was like throughout my experience for the last few weeks. And I've become a better man for it. So I would love for you guys to know, share this with your friends. If this is what you enjoyed, leave a like. And if you want to see more reactions or any type of comments or commentaries that I have to offer, sorry, somebody was texting me. But yeah, subscribe to just keep updated on my latest activities. So that's going to be about it. So once again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.